Episode 27 of True Sports is on the air. I'm
Ah,
Taylor Phillips, and he's Louis Tenore.
yes.
Man, the Giants almost won, but with a 58-yard field goal attempt, that's a tall order.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good from a distance at first, but then it came up like about a yard and a half short. I thought he made it, which would have been miraculous.
Hmm. Yeah, there's only one Matt Prater and one Justin Tucker,
Yes.
But my Lions won big today.
Now
Did,
that
did,
game, I
did you,
thought, well, I wasn't able to see the game, but I thought that game went in a tie since both those teams are completely awful and no one deserves to win anyway. So I thought that game went in a tie more than anything.
right, the Commanders and Giants. But yeah, I was mentioning my Lions.
Yeah,
They whooped on Jacksonville.
yeah.
Yeah, they only committed one penalty. They didn't punt the ball at all,
Hmm.
and they didn't throw any intercept. Goff didn't throw any interceptions. The Lions didn't lose any fumbles, and they possessed the ball 36 minutes, a mere 36 minutes 50 seconds.
Hmm.
Yeah, that, yeah. They stuck with their running game for most of the game, but especially with that last drive that lasted almost 10 minutes.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and the Lions had a 3 possession lead, but they knew they weren't quite sure that if it was over or not. They just had to play the smartest and caution and most cautious football ever. And they stuck to the run, completed most of their passes. They weren't taking it too dangerous. Um,
Right.
and then they capped it off with a touchdown pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown, which was his second touchdown catch of the day. So, it, so yeah, the Lions, yeah, they're 5-7. They're still in the hunt. They're still in the playoff hunt. They're catching
Huh.
up. They've won 4 out of the last 5.
I mean, well, it could be worse. It could be the NFC South, which that division is atrocious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ugh, pathetic.
But yeah, they have a big. But the line back to the Lions though. They have a big NFC North
Yes.
showdown coming up a week later today at home against the 10-2 Minnesota Vikings.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, in their first meeting, the Lions let one get away.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a fight. It was a close.
Yeah.
It was a close one. So there was no guarantee on who would have won. So I expect next week's battle at Ford Field to be a fight.
Well, next week, I don't think it's going to be much of a contest. I mean, 5-7 going to be against the almighty Vikings here. Oof. I mean, that's going to be a tough
The
one.
Lions have been right, but the Lions have been playing great and smart football. If they keep that up, then they have a shot.
Oh
Otherwise,
yeah,
the Vikings are going to run away.
yeah, yeah.
But today was new, different Lions because that was the smartest and best football I've seen the Lions play, particularly in my lifetime. Yeah, same old Lions at all. This is new, different Lions. They didn't commit. They committed only one penalty 0 punts, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles by the offense. That is amazing. What better could I ask for? What better could you ask for?
Well, with my Jets, they have improved too. Not the same old Jets either, just like your Lions, not the same old Lions either. So I think this is the year that our teams that have sucked in recent memory have now stepped up. Thank goodness.
Yeah. The Lions and Jets, they both have improved. So Colts and Cowboys are going at it on NBC. It's a good one. Close score.
Yep.
So the college football playoff, there were a couple of big upsets. TCU lost in overtime, but they stay at number 3. USC got humiliated by Utah.
And that might have been the surprise of the week, even though and USC actually had a big lead at the towards the half, and everybody was thinking, well, this game was over. Not so fast, people. They didn't have an insurmountable lead where they were able to blow it, and unfortunately, Utah was able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, but there were some kind of fears that from some Michigan fans and Georgia fans and some Georgia fans and other media that they could be upset as well. But Georgia brought their A game. They didn't choke. They won 50-30 over LSU.
Yeah.
Michigan and Purdue had a fight in the first half, but Michigan, like they've always done, they've made their second half adjustments, and they outscored Purdue 29-9 in the second half, won 43-22 to win the Big Ten championship. The Wolverines stay at number 2. The Bulldogs stay at top, number 1. The Wolverines are going to play TCU 2 against 3 in the college football playoff December 31st in the Fiesta Bowl, while Georgia takes on Ohio State 1 against 4.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State got back in with the luck of the draw because USC got humiliated.
And their chances now for the college football playoff are history.
USC, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they got humiliated by over 20 points by Utah. Number 11 Utah.
Yeah.
TCU was taking on number 10 Kansas State. It's almost as if there were like no underdog in either contest, but
yeah,
pending the rankings. But the Cowboys just stole the ball and took it the other way for a score. Now they're up by 15. But I know I'm a Central Michigan Chippewa, but I am supporting my maize and blue as well. Yeah, I know the Spartans football season's already over, but their men's basketball team, they lost at home to Northwestern 70-63 at home. Michigan State was 20th ranked. Northwestern was out of the top 25. At least the Red Wings won. My Pistons. The Pistons lost to the Grizzlies. Red Wings took care of business in Columbus, except they won 4-2. They almost blew a 3-0 lead, but Andrew Kopp with such a magnificent sharp angle goal. Just late in the third period, you got to see Andrew Kopp's sharp angle goal for the Detroit Red Wings.
I know what's more shocking
when you see it.
I know what's more shocking though. Michigan State losing to Northwestern or Rutgers being 10th ranked Indiana yesterday. I'm like, what the?
In basketball? Wow.
Yeah. I thought it was a
Rutgers
typo.
Must be good then.
Well, they can be. I mean, they're better than they are in football. That's for sure. Because in football, they're pathetic.
Yeah, at least
Ooh.
well, Rutgers and Indiana are both pathetic in football, but in
Oh
basketball,
yeah.
though, I don't know.
Well, let's just say that in basketball, Rutgers is a bit more decent than their football team.
Yep. So yeah, Jim Harbaugh, by the way, back to Michigan football, is staying put
Mm-hmm.
again, yet again. Yep, because he does not want to go anywhere. His team's undefeated. His team's undefeated at 13-0 heading into the college football playoff, just like Georgia.
Yeah.
The only two remaining college football teams that are undefeated to head to the college football playoff, and they're at 1-2. Simply, if Michigan somehow prevails over TCU, which is gonna be tough,
Mm.
then they're likely gonna go against Georgia. That'll be another fight, the ultimate test for the national
Yes.
championship. I actually checked the score of last year's college football playoff semifinal between those two, Michigan and Georgia, 34-11. So the margin was 23.
Yeah.
It was still a 3-possession game. The maximum of that is 24.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if you think about that, it's like half a route. Just Michigan wasn't quite that ready last year to rise up to that
No.
level. This year, I think they may be. I think they may be. They may have risen up to that level, but we'll see. I'm not quite 100% sure, but this year
Right.
they clobbered number two Ohio State in week 13 when the Wolverines were 3 in the game. Michigan and Ohio State, first time. Like I said last week, first time since 2000 the Wolverines had
Yeah.
beaten the Buckeyes in Columbus. And then they beat Purdue. The Wolverines in the second half have outscored their last two opponents 57-12. Unanimous. Yeah, because they made second half adjustments. They did.
Mm.
Go Blue.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, let's get to your true sports report, Lewis. Go ahead and take it away.
All right, here we go. First to give on the scores of the NFL today. The only game left are the Cowboys and the Colts. Right now, the Cowboys are leading 34-19 early in the fourth quarter. Matt Ryan has 177 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Taylor has 75 rushing yards, and Pierce has 74 receiving yards and a touchdown. All the rest have gone final. The Steelers over the Falcons 19-16. Pickett had 197 passing yards and a touchdown. Harris had 86 yards rushing and on 17 carries, and London had 95 yards, 95 receiving yards. Packers over the Bears 28-19. Fields had 254 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Dillon had 93 rushing yards and a touchdown, and Brown had 85 receiving yards. And it's a good thing I didn't take the Bears because I know they'd lose if I did take them. As we just mentioned, the Lions had a field day over the Jaguars, 40-14. Jared Goff had 340 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Swift had 62 rushing yards and a touchdown, and St. Brown 114 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Vikings over the Jets in a good one, 27-22, even though they're up by 20-9 before the half ended. New quarterback Mike White, not a bad day, 369 passing yards, but also 2 interceptions, not good. Knight, 90 rushing yards on 15 carries, and Wilson, 162 receiving yards. Well, for the first time in 25 years, the Giants played to a tie. That's right, it's been a quarter century since their last tie game, and it was also against, guess what? The Redskins. Well, they were called Redskins back then. So history repeats itself a quarter of a century later as the Commanders and the Giants tied at 20 apiece. Haneke had 276 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Robertson Jr. had 96 rushing yards on 21 carries, and McLaurin had 105 receiving yards and a touchdown. And I remember that game as well, and it was one of the most boring games I ever saw. It ended 7-7. Oh, if you like defense, great, but if you were offense, boy, were you disappointed that night. Eagles over the Titans, 35-10. Jalen Hurts had 380 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Tannehill had 24 rushing yards on 3 carries, and Brown had 119 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. In what sounds more like a high-scoring baseball game, the Ravens edged the Broncos 10-9. Or was the offense in that game? Wilson had 189 passing yards. Murray, 47 rushing yards. And Dulich had 85 receiving yards. Yuck. Browns over the Texans, 27-14. Allen had 201 passing yards and a touchdown. Chubb, that's Nick Chubb, 80 yards on 17 carries, and Moore had 46 receiving yards. The Seahawks over the Rams in a good one, 27-23. Smith had 367 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Akers, 60 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Laquette, 128 receiving yards and a touchdown. 49ers over the Dolphins, 33-17. Tua Tagliavata, 295 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey, 66 rushing yards. And Hill, 146 receiving yards and a touchdown. But it came at a cost for the 49ers. I'll explain that in a little bit. Bengals over the Chiefs, 27-24. Burrow had 286 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Perini had 106 rushing yards, and Chase had 97 receiving yards. Raiders over the Chargers, 27-20. Herbert had 335 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Jacobs, 144 rushing yards and a touchdown. And Adams had 177 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And for those of you who are interested in Thursday's game, the Bills, the Bills, over the Patriots, 24-10, first of all, 223 passing yards and 2 touchdowns for Jared Allen. Cook had 64 rushing yards on 14 carries, and Diggs had 22 receiving yards and touchdown. And for tomorrow's game, Saints versus the Bucks. Well, you would expect more from the Bucks. You know, the Bucks have been, for a Super Bowl champion on that level. They couldn't even, they're not the same team. I think Brady's just getting too old. So here we go with the standings, and it goes like this. Starting off in the AFC East, the Bills are 9-3. The Dolphins are 8-4. The Jets are 7-5, and them, or as you all call them, the Patriots are 6-6. But all teams are at least at 500 or above, so that makes it very competitive here. To the north, the Ravens are 8-4, along with the Bengals, At least they're not suffering a Super Bowl hangover. And the Browns and Steelers are 5-7. To the South, the Titans are 7-5, the only team that's above 500 in that division. The Colts are 4-7-1. The Jaguars are 4-0, and the Texans are 1-10-1, and are the first team to be eliminated. In the West, the Chiefs are 9-3. The Chargers are 6-6. The Raiders are 5-7, and the Broncos, who will be eliminated soon, are 3-9. It's just not been made official yet, but they will. To the NFC East, which has been a much stronger division than in the past few years, the Eagles are 11-1. Yuck. The Cowboys 8-3, pending outcome of this game, could be 9-3 or 8-4. Giants are now 7-4-1 after their first tie after 25 years, and the Commanders are 7-5-1. To the north, the Vikings keep on rolling at their 10-2. Lions 5-7. The Packers 5-8. What happened to them? And the Bears, who are now eliminated, are 3-10. Or 3-10. And my brother is not happy. Ah well. Okay, to the pathetic NFC South, and it goes like this. This is disgusting. The Bucks and Falcons. No, I'm sorry. The Bucks are 5-6-0. The Falcons 5-8-0. While the Panthers and Saints, or in this case the Aints, are both 4-0. Pathetic. Ugh. To the West, the 49ers are 8-4. The Seahawks 7-5. The Cardinals 4-8, and the Rams, who are having a Super Bowl hangover, 3-9. I don't know what to tell you, but this is not the same team that won the Super Bowl just last year. I just don't get it. Oh well. Okay, over to the NBA now. And it goes like this. At the half, the Blazers are leading the Pacers 54-49. Turner has 17 points and 6 rebounds. Newkirk has 12 points. All the rest are final. The Pelicans over the Nuggets 121-106. The Joker had 32 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists. Aviardo had 38 points. Wow. Suns over the Spurs 133-95. DeAndre Ayton had 25 points and 10 rebounds, and Johnson had 27 points. Still in a laugher, though. Mm-hmm. The Celtics over the Nets 103-92. Brown had 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks, while Kevin Durant had 31 points and 7 rebounds. Grizzlies over the Pistons 122-112. John Morant 33 points and 10 assists. Bay had 24 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. Knicks bounced back after a Friday loss against the Cavaliers, 92-81. Mitchell had 23 points. Bruson also had 23 points. Lakers over the Wizards, 130-119. Davis, listen at 55 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Porzingis, 27 points and 9 rebounds. Oh, sure. Now you're starting to get good. Where were you when you were on our side, you jerk? Kings over the Bulls, 110-101. Levine, 41 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. Sabonis, triple-double, 17 rebounds, 11 points, and 10 assists. Not bad. Triple-double. You know you're having a good game when you have that. Because I think so anyway. But look like the Bulls that were having a surge last season have cooled off. For whatever reason, I have no idea. But Bruson was playing against his old team last night, and they gave him a good old-fashioned butt whooping. All right, so the NBA standings go like this. In the Eastern Conference, the Celtics lead the East at 19-5, 2 games ahead of the Bucks at 16-5. The Cavaliers are 4 back at 15-9. The Hawks are 13-10, 5.5 back. 6 back are the Pacers at 12-10. The Sixers are 12-11 at 6.5 back, along with the Raptors. The Nets are 13-12, 6.5 back. The Heat are 7.5 back at 11-12, and the Knicks are back in the play-in game hunt at 11-13, 8 back. You still need work, guys. You still need work. On the outside looking in, the Wizards are also 11-13, 8 back. The Bulls are 9-14, 9.5 back. What happened to them? The Hornets 7-16, 11.5 back. The Pistons 6-19 and 13.5 back. And the Tragic 5-19, 14 back. You call them the Magic. To the West, the Suns are 16-7. They have a game lead over the Pelicans, 15-8. Surprise, surprise. The Nuggets are 2 back at 14-9. Also 14-9 are the Grizzlies. At 13-9 are the Kings at 2.5 back. And the Warriors rebounding nicely, 13-11, 3.5 back. Okay. Clippers are also 13-11 at 3.5 back. Also 3.5 back are the Jazz at 14-12. Blazers 12-11, 4 back. And the Mavericks 4.5 back at 11-11. On the outside looking in are the Wolves 11-12, 5.5 back. Lakers are starting to make a little bit of a surge, 10-12, 5.5 back. The Thunder 10-13, 6 back. The Rockets 6-17, 10 back. And the Spurs 6-18, 10.5 back. Whew. Where's Hakeem Olajuwon when you need him? I think the Rockets can use him. Wow. Because once upon a time, boys and girls, the Rockets were actually a decent team and won two NBA titles. But as the old saying goes, that was then, this is now. Ugh. Just unbelievably bad how they've gotten. It's unbelievably bad how they've gotten. And that's last season was bad enough, but this season it's taking the cake. All right, so the schedule and goes down like this. For tomorrow, we have versus the Hornets at 7 o'clock. Also 7 o'clock are the Bucks versus the Magic. 7:30, the Thunder take on the Hawks. Also 7:30 are the Celtics taking on the Raptors. 8 o'clock games are the Sixers and the Rockets. The Heat versus the Grizzlies. 8:30, the Suns take on the Mavericks. And at 10 o'clock, the Pacers take on the Warriors. Okay, let's go over to the ice. As it goes like this, the Islanders blanked the Blackhawks 3-0. The Sabres doubled up on the Sharks 6-3. Your Red Wings doubled up on the Blue Jackets 4-2. The Jets over the Ducks 5-2. And the Wild beat the Stars 6-5 in a Wild game. 6-5 in a shootout. And so on like that. All right, so we'll check the standings now for here. If anybody can answer to me what is the tribute to the Boston Bruins' success this year, I'm just completely stunned. They haven't even lost. I don't think they lost a game at home yet this year. That's just unbelievable. And they have the best home start to anybody since the Blackhawks in 62-63. Okay, so here are the standings, and they go like this. Bruins, yep, did it again. Look at this, guys. 23-0 at 40 points. Kind of disgusting. The Leafs, 15-5-6, 36 points. The Lightning, 15-8-1, 31 points. The Red Wings, decent, 12-7-5, 29 points. The Panthers, 12-9-4, 28 points. The Canadiens, 12-11-1, 25 points. The Sabres, 11-13-1, 23 points, and the Senators 10-13-1, 21 points. Over to my division in the Metropolitan. The Devils 24-1, 41 points. The Hurricanes 14-6-5, 33 points. The Islanders 32 points at 16-10-0. The Pens 13-8-4, 30 points. The Rangers 11-10-5, 27 points. 10-12-4, 24 points. The Flyers 8-12-5, 21 points. And the Lonely Blue Jackets 8-13-2, 18 points. Well. The West. The Stars are 14-6-5, 33 points. The Jets 15-7-1, 31 points. The Wild 13-9-2, 28 points. The Avalanche 13-8-1, 27 points. The Predators 12-9-2, 26 points. The Blues 11-13-0, 22 points. The Coyotes 7-11-4, 18 points. And the Blackhawks 7-13-4, also 18 points. I expected better from this year, didn't get it. Golden Knights are back to where they were before last year, now 18-7-1, 37 points. Kraken, big surprise of the year so far, 15-6-3, 33 points. The Kings, 13-10-4, 30 points. The Oilers, 14-11-0, 28 points. The Flames, 11-10-3, 25 points. The Canucks, 10-12-3, 23 points. The Sharks are 8-16-4, 20 points. And the Ducks, 6-17-3, 15 points. Not good. Well, not if you're a Ducks fan. What can I say about that? But still, that's just downright miserable. It's amazing how bad some of these teams can actually be. And like I said, that Garoppolo's season is over after suffering a left foot injury early in the game as well. Oh, we also have World Cup soccer tomorrow, as Japan will take on Croatia in the early game. And that's just about it. On tomorrow's schedule, the Knights take on the Bruins. The Blues take on the Rangers. Avalanche take on the Flyers. Capitals take on the Oilers. And the Habs take on the Canucks. All right. So, interesting story here for the 2026 World Cup. Bear with me, please, on this. This might take a bit long. FIFA Chief of Football, Andreas Wagner, said today that a final decision has not been made on a format for the 2026 World Cup, which will be played throughout North America. That means the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. The 2022 World Cup saw great drama as the group stage concluded with all four teams playing simultaneously. But with the new tournament expanding to 48, a new system will have to be taking place. It has been almost 6 years since the FIFA Council voted to expand to 48 teams, with 16 groups divided into 3 teams, with the top 2 from each group heading into the round of 32. But this would mean the 2 teams in the final group fixture could play out the result through the expense of the team not playing has led to rethink the idea. Sounds kind of weird. FIFA even raised the idea of penalty shootout at the end of every group stage drawn game. But even that would not overcome teams playing a specific scoreline that suited both. At a news conference today for the FIFA study group, that 3 options are under consideration, as well as a 3-team option. Another suggestion would be 12 groups of 4 teams, with the best third-place team advancing to the next round. Even if they don't win any games. Okay. A third option would be to split the World Cup into 2 separate halves of 24 teams, with each group featuring 6 groups of 4 teams. The winners of each half would be in the final. Now that sounds more logical to me. But draw your own conclusions, folks. Dallas Mavericks came to MSG last night and faced former teammate Jalen Brunson and made him pay for it. Oh boy, did they ever. The Mavericks wanted to beat the Knicks on their home court, being outscored in the second half 69-40 as the Mavericks stuck it to their former teammate. Luka Doncic had 19 points and Tim Hardaway Jr. scored 17 points. It was the Knicks' sixth loss in 8 games and is only 4-7 at home. Not a promising start to the season for the Knicks so much as their $100 million man that they signed in the offseason to a 4-year deal. Oof. Just sad. Grizzlies guard Ja Morant was fined $35,000 for drawing an official and not leaving the court in a timely manner after he was ejected from Wednesday's game, which was a loss to the Timberwolves. Morant was given a technical foul and was ejected late in the fourth. He had 24 points in the loss. Dillon Brooks was also ejected from the game. The NBA announced yesterday that Morant was fined for directing foul language towards an official. And that is a no-no, folks. Well, in this league, anyway. Speaking of NBA players in trouble, Rudy Gobert was ejected in the first half in their loss to the Thunder after he appeared to trip Kenrich Williams. Gobert contested Williams on a drive to the rim in the second quarter, causing Williams to fall to the ground. Gobert tripped Williams and, while down the court, appeared to sweep a leg out in an attempt to trip him. Williams, as the forward for the Thunder, made an attempt to get up. A brief scuffle encountered, which Gobert was assessed with a flagrant 2 foul and was ejected, and Williams was given a technical foul. Gobert finished with 6 points and 4 rebounds and was ejected for the 5th time in his career. Looks like we got a new bad boy in the NBA, people. All right. Tyson Fury dominated over Derek Krista and retained his WBC title as the fight was stopped late in the 10th round. Chisora, who has now lost 3 times to Fury, never landed a punch of consequence, oh boy, but absorbed plenty of shots from the Gypsy King in a bout that should have ended a lot sooner. Chisora's trademark toughness was on display throughout what amounted to be a tune-up for Fury, who plans to fight Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world to be fought this spring in Saudi Arabia. I was almost going to do my Michael Buffer impersonation, but I'll spare the group that. Yuck. All right. As most of you know, yesterday the U.S. soccer team went down to defeat 3-1 over the Netherlands, or as we call them, the Dutch. The Netherlands expressed their firepower early with 2 goals in the first, putting the U.S. in a deep hole. The U.S. were able to get a goal midway in the second half and were looking to make a comeback until Denzel Dumfries added the extra goal late in the second. It became a rally killer for the U.S. Haji Wright was the lone goal scorer for the U.S. and Christian Pulisic was available but could not help get past the Netherlands. As Pulisic went down with a pelvic injury on Tuesday after he scored the goal in the first half against Iran, or Iran, as the case may be. Red Wing fans, you're going to hate me for this, but I got to do it anyway. Forward Todd Bertuzzi will miss 6 weeks after undergoing hand surgery.
He's been injury prone.
Yeah, but out for 6 weeks. I don't know if he's been out for that long in his career.
He actually has been.
Out
6 to 8 weeks his last time. Shoulder.
Yeah, that was reported on Friday. Bertuzzi underwent surgery on his left after he was hit on a shot by a loss to the Sabres on Wednesday. Bertuzzi also missed a month earlier this season with an upper body injury. Bertuzzi last season had 32 goals and 30 assists last season compared to only 1 goal and 3 assists this season, despite the fact that last season that the Red Wings were awful. Okay, Bucks forward Chris Middleton made his return on Friday night, scoring 17 points and 7 assists, despite a loss to the Lakers, his first game since the first-round playoff series in April. Middleton played for 27 minutes and made 6 of 11 shots, and was 3 for 4 on three-point shots, giving the Bucks an offensive boost that they desperately needed. The Bucks came off back-to-back games this weekend, as they also played the Hornets last night, but Middleton was not expected to play. It was probably just too soon for him to do back-to-back games after being out for quite some time, which I can't blame him. Jimmy Butler made a return to the Heat on Friday after missing 7 games with a right knee injury. His first game back at TD Garden since they lost to the Celtics in a playoff series last May. Butler finished with 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 assists for the Heat, who overcame a game-tying shot from Jaylen Brown that sent the game in overtime. Butler thought the game was over when he made baskets on back-to-back possessions. Then Al Horford hit a fadeaway jumper with 5.6 seconds to go. Left Brown answered with a 30-foot shot at the end of regulation. The Heat did not collapse in overtime. They pressed their advantage, and Butler had the chance to redeem himself, and this time was able to close out the game with a short jumper, giving the Celtics now the best in the Eastern Conference at 18-5. What can I say?
Cowboys just scored yet another defensive touchdown. Now they have 53 points.
Beautiful.
53.
I'm a heavy camper.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah. LeBron, as LeBron James surpassed Magic Johnson 6th on the all-time assist list while wearing a Lakers uniform, but knows his place among the Lakers' lure. To know about I'm in a conversation or about getting to a point where I'm breaking a record that's set for the franchise, I'm not comparing myself to Magic for what he did for the franchise. He hit the mark with his 9th assist against the Bucks in the fourth quarter, finding Anthony Davis for a 3-point shot. This was LeBron's 10,142nd career assist, and trails not only John Stockton, Mark Jackson, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, and Jason Kidd. Stockton is the all-time leader with 15,806 assists, in a record that I don't think is ever going to be broken, to be honest with you. And to think he never won a title.
5 turnovers by the Colts.
You won't win a game that way, buddy.
No way. That's why you're 4-7-1. Indianapolis.
Yeah. For the first time in almost 2 years, Nets swingman T.J. Warren made his return to action. Warren last played on December 29th as a member back of the Pacers. He returned last night for the Nets against the Raptors after several surgeries on his left foot and had a rehab schedule. Warren checked in with just over 4 minutes left in the first quarter as he substituted for Royce O'Neal, scored almost instantly, and gave the Nets a huge lead on that. And actually won that game on Friday night. All right. And we have a milestone in the NHL as Steven Stamkos of the Lightning scored his 1,000th point in the NHL on Friday with a win over the Flyers. Stamkos had an assist, and Nick Paul scored twice in the 4-1 victory. The top overall pick in 2008 assisted on Paul's second goal in the second period. Stamkos celebrated with his fist in the air as the puck went into the net, and his teammates celebrated as well. Why not? The Tampa Bay captain is the 95th player in NHL history to reach 1,000 points. Actually, I thought there'd be more of that. Given the long history of the NHL, I thought there was a lot more players that did that, but it's only 95 players out of the 100-plus year history of the league. Stamkos has 506 assists in his career, and has played his entire career with Tampa Bay, has 2 Stanley Cups in 2020 and 2021, but their quest for a third title was stopped in June by the Avalanche, who just exploded this past season, last season. The Hawks, well, they're doing well, but they're in trouble with some injuries, as forwards DeAndre Hunter and Joseph Collins suffered in the win over the Magic on Wednesday. The Hawks said Hunter will miss at least a week after an MRI revealed a hip flexor strain. The injury-plagued forward, who missed 2 months last season with a wrist injury, will be evaluated again next week, meaning though he will miss 4 games. The Hawks add that Collins underwent an MRI scan that revealed a left ankle sprain with swelling in the joint area and will keep him out for at least 2 weeks. Boy, when rains it pours. Hunter played 7 minutes in Wednesday's game as Collins was injured after a dunk that did not count before the
Now they
buzzer.
have 53 points.
Hunter was
Now they
selected
have
fourth. The extra point.
now they have 53 points. It was taken off before, but now it's put back on.
That, of course. Hunter was selected fourth in the NBA draft, averaging 14.9 points per game. Collins is averaging 12.3 points per game. And back to more trouble in the NBA as forward Draymond Green was fined $25K for directing obscene language towards a fan. The league made the announcement back on Thursday. Green's interaction with the fan occurred in the fourth in their loss to the Mavericks on Tuesday. Some of them just can't keep their big mouths shut. And Al Horford signed a 2-year extension deal worth $20 million for the Celtics, taking him to 2025 with the franchise, his agent told ESPN back on Thursday. Horford, a 5-time All-Star, is completing the final year of his 4-year deal worth $109 million. This season alone, he'll make $26.5 million. The extension eliminates the possibility of a repeat of 2019 when Horford left the Celtics for free agency. The possible free agent centers available for next summer behind the Pacers, Miles Turner, Bulls, Nikolai Vanek, Bucks, Brook Lopez, Mavericks Christian Wood, and Spurs Jacob Collier. Horford relieved his career in the second run, with Boston emerging as championship contenders. Despite getting up there in years, he still remains a very productive player and continues to hold a significant amount of respect in the locker room and in the community of the Boston area.
I got it at that setting, went to all the other ones, and I still.
Let's see, okay. After having Chris Middleton he's ready to go. Middleton. Good player, but I'm not too crazy about him, though. Okay, on to more news here. Well, as I mentioned, Jimmy G's season with the 49ers is over as he departed the game early with a left foot injury. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said after the win over the Dolphins, the G-Man season is over and will now undergo surgery. And the injury was worse than we first thought. I do have more on this, though. I'll get to in a minute. Deion Sanders has been named the next head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes football team, as expected. Came as no surprise. Sanders comes in with only 3 years of coaching experience, as he went 27-5 for Jackson State, who went 12-0 this season and won the SWAC championship over Southern. Sanders informed his team of his departure after last night's win. He is expected still to coach Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl on the 17th against North Carolina Central. Don't mind me, folks. We're just trying to fix a video problem with my set. Oh boy, are we ever. So anyway.
54-19 Dallas.
Oi. I knew that the Cowboys would win, but I wasn't expecting to be, blowout city.
Yeah, it's a 35-point lead.
By the way, in World Cup action today, France beat Poland 3-1, and England beat Senegal 3-0. Okay, for you college football maniacs, I got one for you here, including myself. Alabama will face Kansas in the Sugar Bowl after missing out on the college football playoff for only the second time since the system began back in 2014. Kansas, who spoiled TCU's perfect season in the Big 12 championship, will face Alabama on December 31st. It's the first meeting for both schools. Clemson and Tennessee will face off at the Orange Bowl. Clemson earned the spot by winning the ACC championship. Tennessee was the highest ranked team after the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl made their selections. Clemson and Tennessee last met in the 2004 Peach Bowl. Utah and Penn State will play in the Rose Bowl on January 2nd. USC will face Tulane in the Cotton Bowl as USC lost to Utah in the Pac 12 title game. Remember, January 1st is Sunday this year, and there's no way they're going to play a college football game during the last weekends of the NFL regular season. Yeah, right. Forget it. If you do, you're nuts. All right, so here's what happened. 8 plays in the 49ers opening drive, Garoppolo departed with a left foot injury. With 11 minutes left in the first quarter, Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker and end Jalen Phillips converged on Garoppolo for a sack. The G-Man attempted to keep his momentum forward as his left foot got caught under Phillips as he was taken down. Garoppolo got up slowly and hobbled over to the sideline, making his way to the blue medical tent. Before being placed into a cart and heading into the locker room. His return was questionable, but by midway through the second period, he was officially ruled out. Brock Purdy was brought in as Garoppolo's replacement. So his season is now completely over. Clemson Tigers will move forward with quarterback Cade Klubnik as he came off the bench and led the Tigers to a win over North Carolina in the ACC title game. DJ Ugali started the first 2 drives and struggled, going 2 for 5 for 10 yards. Both drives ended on a third and out. Klubnik came and led the scoring drive and played the rest of the game, going 20 for 24 with 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. Coach Dabo Sweeney said the plan was for Klubnik to come into the game on the third series, no matter what, and he did. And he will start the Orange Bowl on December 30th. And it's all said and done for the college football playoff series. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson was to be reinstated and to play against the Texans. He was made with the League Players Association expects to strive as a sign of progress in his treatment program. Though his 11-game suspension is over, his treatment program continues, sources told ESPN, and probably will for some time to come. He has progressed well, and he wants to continue with it, and they feel it is helping him, a source connected to his treatment program. It's an ongoing process and will continue to be until he is no longer needed. I think that has given him a lot of help and support, but still has a long way to go. It's not easy to get past either. The program is considered confidential, and Watson did not shed light on his treatment. He declined to address his treatment during a news conference last week, leading up to his return to play. But a source pointed he should not comment on his treatment program and is not allowed to get into his legal situation. Oh boy. Georgia's place in the college football playoff was more secure as they romp over Auburn as they won the SEC championship a year after losing to Alabama. Winning the SEC championship is a big deal, said quarterback Stetson Bennett, the best quarterback in the SEC, as most people think. Of course, the national championship is a big deal, and that is our next goal, as it should be. Bennett threw 2 interceptions in last season's loss in the SEC title game. LSU today completing 24-20 passes for 274 yards with 4 touchdown yards and no interceptions. Make that 23-29 passes. Still, a great effort. Okay, continuing on. Okay, let's see here.
You're watching True Sports, episode 27. I'm Taylor Phillips, along with Louis Tenore.
Okay, here we are. And as I mentioned, first up, Utah upsets USC in the Pac-12 title game on Friday night, ending USC's hopes for a national title. The Utes were trailing 17-3 and went on a 24-point explosion in the second half and went on to dominate the Trojans and to win their second straight Pac-12 title. Looking for was in the first half, I thought maybe it was going to be USC in complete control. But in the first half was actually 17-3, thanks to Caleb Williams, who finished with 363 passing yards, 21 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns and an interception. But after pulling off a 59-yard run and gasping for air, Williams was never the same after that. Oof. Afterward, Coach Lincoln Riley said Williams popped a hamstring during that run. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. With Williams now out, actually was able to continue the game. Williams out, Utah was able to take advantage as they scored 2 touchdowns to tie the game and a third quarter, both by Cameron King. The Utes tight ends took control late in the game, with Dalton Kincaid and Thomas Yasmin combining for 121 yards, including a 60-yard touchdown pass from Cameron Rising to Yasmin. Rising finished with 310 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Jaquaden Jackson finished off with a 53-yard touchdown run. And Utah finished with 533 total yards, and USC only ended with 411. A tale of two halves, if you ask me. The Seattle Mariners and Brewers are in agreement on a trade that would send outfielder Jose Winkler and second baseman Abraham Toro to the Brewers for second baseman Colton Wong for around $1.75 million in cash. The Mariners are the winner, targeting bats to improve their lineup. Wong is the second acquisition after a deal for Teoscar Hernandez. Wong is a 2-time Gold Glove winner who had 15 home runs last season. The Brewers picked up a $10 million option on Wong last month and had multiple suitors. In exchange, the Brewers received Winkler and Toro. The Mariners received Toro in March and was a centerpiece of a 6-player deal. He struggled to find the power of a stroke he had back in 2001. He also had underwent knee surgery this season and would make $8.2 million next season. Guys got to stay more healthy, guys, and avoid that kind of injury. Yeah, looks like France is going to dominate the World Cup again. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. And Saturday is the Heisman Trophy award that will be announced. And, of course, I'll keep my eye on that. And whenever the next broadcast is, I will bring the results to you. Considering when. But I think I might have a clear favorite to who might win that event. But I'm not going to say it here, just in case. All right, so just to clear up one more article, if we can. And the Cowboys just romped over Indianapolis. I expected them to win, but I didn't think it was going to be, that kind of a score. So now the Cowboys are a solid second in the NFC East, and thanks to that tie with the Giants and the Commanders, now all you got to do is try to get past, well, all the Eagles, which is not easy to do. Ugh.
A total of 73 points.
So
Total of
it's going to be a
73
very
points in
interesting.
that game.
Wow, 73 points, and Dallas scored 53 of them. Yeah,
54.
didn't start off that well for the Cowboys. 50, wow, didn't start off so well for the Cowboys, but they poured it on after like the first quarter ended, and just took control of the game right there. Yeah, but of course, Jerry Jones is still Jerry Jones. You get the point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. I'll just turn it back over to you.
All right, so that is episode 27 of True Sports. He's Lewis, I'm Taylor. Follow my other show, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, on Twitter and Instagram at Michigan_Truth. Like its Facebook page and subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. True Sports is a presentation and production of Phillips Media. Ta-ta, hit him with a hind. Case closed. Power to the people.
Good night, folks.